Lesson 20. Principle of placing main stress on ideology. This lesson, we're going to study the principle of placing the main stress on ideology. Applying the theory of ideology that explains the role of ideological consciousness in man's activity, the Juche idea sets it forward as the important principle to be adhered to in the revolutionary construction to place main stress on ideology. Leader Kim Jong-il said, "The popular masses' consciousness of independence plays a decisive role in the revolutionary movement. Therefore, in the revolutionary construction, one must place the main stress on ideology and give priority overall work to the remolding of ideology, the political work, which is aimed at raising the consciousness and activeness of the masses. Decisive importance must be attached to ideological factor in the revolution and construction. Attaching decisive importance to ideological factor means singling out the ideological factor as the decisive one deciding victory in the revolution among material and ideological factors acting on the revolutionary movement. Ideology is the most powerful weapon and the one and only weapon for the revolution to shape out the people's destiny. Lifeline of the revolution is safeguarded by ideology, and the revolution advances by dint of ideology. All problems arising in the revolution and construction must be solved by enhancing the role of ideological consciousness. Solving all problems by enhancing the role of ideological consciousness means carrying out the revolutionary tasks by arming the people with the revolutionary idea and stimulating them ideologically. Revolution can emerge victorious only when the ideologically awakened masses turn out in the struggle for themselves. Giving priority to ideological remolding and giving precedence to political work are the main contents of the guiding principle of placing the main stress on ideology. Priority must be given to ideological remolding in order to place the main stress on ideology. Giving priority to ideological remolding means giving precedence before others to the work of remolding their ideological consciousness and making the people become the genuine social beings. Human remolding is, in a sense, the ideological remolding. Ideology decides value and dignity of the people, and accordingly, ideological remolding presents to be the most important issue in remolding man. Establishing revolutionary world outlook, the view of the revolution is the main in the ideological remolding. The ideological remolding aims to transform the people into true revolutionaries. If the people are to be transformed into true revolutionaries, it is necessary to establish the correct outlook on the revolution. Which attitude one takes towards the revolution and how actively one participates in the revolution depends, after all, on one's outlook on the revolution. The Juche-oriented outlook on the revolution is the Juche-oriented viewpoint and stand towards the revolution to be possessed by the people as masters of the revolution. In other words, it is the viewpoint and stand towards the revolution which places the popular masses in the center and the revolutionary spirit of fighting vigorously for the masses. To acquire the Juche-oriented outlook on the revolution means correctly cognizing the essence and the fundamental aim of the revolution and ways for its end, and keeping as one's faith the readiness and will to devotedly struggle for the sake of the revolution. In order to acquire the Juche outlook on the revolution, it is necessary to equip oneself firmly with the Juche idea and possess the resolute revolutionary spirit. Only by equipping oneself with the Juche idea, one will be able to correctly understand the principles of revolution and the laws of revolutionary development, have confidence in the prospect of the revolution, and struggle to the end in any adverse condition without vacillation and hesitation. The important way to acquire outlook on the revolution is to intensify training through the revolutionary studying, organizational life, and revolutionary practice. Studying is an important way to arm oneself with the revolutionary idea and theory, strategy, and tactics. Studying is the basic process that the revolutionaries must go through to cultivate themselves, and the indispensable process that they must not stop even for a day to create assets for social progress and change. The people cultivate themselves and acquire ideological and mental papillon through studying. Organizational life is the revolutionary mode of life and a school for revolutionary training that proceed from nature of the revolutionary movement. The people are trained in a revolutionary way by receiving political ideological education through organizational life. Without the organizational life, the people will be unable to become revolutionaries and keep political integrity. Revolutionary practice is a powerful means for ideological remolding. Practice of the revolutionaries is precisely the struggle to implement the revolutionary ideology of the leader, lines, and policies of the party. The revolutionaries train themselves ideologically and purposefully, and possess of qualification and character as such in the practice of revolutionary struggle. Precedence must be given to political work in order to place the main stress on ideology. Giving precedence to political work means giving priority to the agitprop work of equipping the masses with the party's line and policy and arousing their revolutionary enthusiasm. Political work is to arouse the people's voluntary enthusiasm and creativity by enlisting their ideology. Political work is the work with people who have ideological consciousness, and in essence, it is to enlist the people's ideology. Comparatively speaking, it can be said that electricity is power of modern industry, whereas the political work is the power that arouses the people's revolutionary enthusiasm. It is possible to arouse the people to the revolutionary struggle without political work. It is important in applying the principle of giving precedence to political work to combine it properly with the administrative and business affairs, technical and economic affairs. As the building of socialism is the highly organized undertaking which involves the whole society and is made in a planned manner, and the complicated undertaking based on modern science and technology, meticulous administrative work and scientific, technical, and economic work are indispensable for the building of socialism. However, it is impossible to implement the revolutionary tasks with success if one neglects political work and gets oneself involved only in technical and economic business. Administrative work, technical and economic work can also be successful only when precedence is given to political work. That is why it is imperative to give precedence to political work and combine it correctly with administrative work and the technical and economic work. It is important in applying the principle of giving precedence to political work to put stress on political and moral incentives and combine them properly with material incentives. The socialist society must not ignore the material incentives but apply the socialist principle of distribution according to the quality and quantity of work done. Neglecting the political and moral incentives and putting stress on the material incentives is against the essential character of the socialist society. If the political and moral incentives are neglected and emphasis is made only on the material incentives, egoism will be caused among the working people and there will be mercenary and acquisitive. This is very dangerous and harmful tendency that corrodes the socialist system and the revolutionary gains. Stress must be put to the political and moral incentives in the socialist society. Only then will it be possible for the masses to have the correct stand and attitude befitting the masters of the revolution and work with voluntary enthusiasm. It is important in applying the principle of giving precedence to political work to conduct the political work by relying on their scientific and revolutionary measures. The political work must be done through persuasion and education. Giving orders and shouting commands cannot move the people. It is imperative to eliminate the tendency of moving the people with orders and commands, hold the political work as the first process of all affairs, and persuade and educate the masses constantly and substantially till they accept the party's intention with sincerity as their own and are roused to activity. The political work must be done in a fresh way by applying various forms and methods. As it is a creative work made in different conditions and circumstances to treat the people of different levels with different characteristics, the political work cannot be done by a uniform prescription or pattern. There cannot be an omnipotent prescription in the work with people, the political work. The political work must be done as the affair of the masses themselves. The political work must be done as the affair of the masses themselves. The political work to educate and rouse the popular masses cannot be done only by the efforts of a few people. As a matter of principle, all revolutionaries must be political workers, educators, and organizers for the masses. Political work must be combined closely with revolutionary practice. The political work aims to carry out the revolutionary tasks successfully. Success in the political work must find its expression in the actual result of the revolution and construction and must be appreciated also by it. Political work which is diverse from the revolutionary tasks and which is not helpful for the revolution and construction is futile. Thank you for this lesson. Today, the Juche idea is enjoying big sympathy from the people all over the world and giving powerful impetus to the contemporary historic movement which is aspiring to independence. Through the heroic struggle of the DPRK people, who are resolutely fighting against the unequal and contradictory world order, the progressive people realize that the Juche idea is a beacon of historic progress and follow the Juche idea ardently. Let us deeply study the Juche idea, the immortal banner of the popular masses struggle for a new world and our destiny, and apply it actively in the revolutionary practice. So far on the Juche idea.